George Meredith. Say your name.
Tim Bocock.
So we have three, we have a quorum.
Okay. We need to entertain motions for a nomination for a vice chair.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we nominate George.
Meredith, okay.
George Meredith as vice chair.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Now, George, you probably then need to resign as secretary, then vice chair.
All right, I'd like to entertain motion to elect a new secretary
Since you're the vice chair.
or vice chair,
Yes.
new vice chair,
No, the secretary.
new secretary.
I make a motion that we nominate Ken Holcott as vice or secretary.
I second.
Okay. Good,
All right.
we're good to go.
Okay.
If you vote, everybody votes in favor?
Everybody in favor, Tim? Yeah?
Good.
All right.
We're ready to go now.
Okay. We waive the reading of the minutes. Everybody's got it there in front of it. Anybody have any questions about the minutes? I think this is more the planning and zoning than it is us.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes as printed.
I second. All in favor? We have visitors here today. Mr. Bobby Decker's here. Anyone else? Okay. All right, we have an application from Mr. Decker for a reduction of his rear yard setback to 6 feet, and the right yard setback to 8 feet, and the left yard setback to 8 feet. Is that correct?
Yes, we need a
Yes.
variance request is what it
Variance
is.
request, okay.
So, variance request for 212 South Broadway Street, Leitchfield, Kentucky.
Okay.
And let me read to you, so I know that we've got two new members, and let me read to you what we need to do. Before any variance is granted, the board must find that the granting of the variance will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations. In making these findings, the board shall consider whether the required variances arise from special circumstances which do not generally apply to land in the general vicinity or the same zone. The strict application of the provisions of the regulation would deprive the applicant of the reasonable use of the land or would create an unnecessary hardship on the applicant, and the circumstances are the result of actions the applicant taken subsequent to the adoption of the zoning regulation which relief is sought. So those are the things that you have to consider,
Okay.
and that's, I think Tyler's made his recommendation.
Yeah, so on the application here, typically for a commercial zone abutting on a residential property, setback would be 50 feet from that property line and 20 feet from the street right of way. This particular property has road frontage on each end of it, on the eastern and west side. On the south side, the property line abuts another commercial zone, and then the rear currently has residential property behind it, two separate parcels, one of which the applicant owns. The other parcel is on the future land use map as a commercial use. So the current setback requirements would hinder the future expansion of the existing recycling business if they were to stay as is. That's the reason for the request. As far as the road frontage, he's matching what is currently already built on site. So he's got an 8-foot variance from the road frontage on each side with what's currently there. That's what he's requesting to have to match up the existing structure. And then he's requesting that 50-foot setback to that residential property be reduced down to 6 foot. He will put a buffer area in with a solid fence to screen that commercial use from that residential property as well.
Okay, what's your recommendation?
I recommend to be able to utilize this property that we grant this variance for Mr. Decker.
Okay. I make a motion that we accept the variance.
He,
No,
You need to make one or the other.
One-
But
yeah.
we need to go ahead and make the findings of fact first.
yeah,
I think based upon what you've heard, it will not impact the safety of and the essential character of the general vicinity. Is that not right?
that's correct.
And one of the big problems we have with this type of lot, zone commercial, the lots are so small that by the time you take the setback, you've eliminated the lot.
Right, the lot itself's only 50 feet wide, 60 feet, so
So when you
you're
take-
only gonna be able to utilize 10 feet of that property if you,
And it doesn't, it just makes it impossible. But we need to address that properly, and that's one of the things that we've talked about, Tim, George, and in our meeting that we had, but we've got some of the ordinances that really we need to tweak pretty good. We've run across that. But unfortunately, if he abides by the setbacks, he can't use his lot. That's not, and nobody wants that.
Right.
So that's not the way it should be.
I'll make a motion that does not have a significant impact on the public health, safety, or welfare, and that we approve the recommendation.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
we didn't close.
Any other business?
That's all right.
Okay.
They made the motion.
Do we have any new business to discuss?
No, that's the only thing I think we had come before.
Unless we want to talk about the work session on the comprehensive plan, if they want to be a part of it.
I'm gonna certainly invite them.
Okay.
I'll invite all of them.
All right.
We're gonna have a work session with regard to the comprehensive plan. Tim and George are already on that. They already know all about it. But George, we'd like to also invite you to, that'll be our next meeting that we have, and it's just gonna be a work session with regard to the planning commission.
When will that be, Dave?
That'll be next month.
Okay.
August 14th.
We'll send the date.
We'll extend an invitation, we'll
Okay.
send
We're
an
gonna
email
send out
about
a
it.
note, but
Okay.
we want to try to get people here to talk about the goals that we have. One of the
Okay.
goals we have, just what we talked about a minute ago.
Yeah.
Some of these lots are just, if you tear down the buildings, they're not usable because they're not big enough whereby you can
Okay.
apply the.
So those are the kind of things we're going to try to tweak a little bit.
That's some of the things we're talking about.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. If there's no new business, I make a motion, or I can't make a motion, can I? You do.
No.
I keep entertaining motion for adjournment.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I promise to get better at this. I hope